So here it is, we've got it in the garage, and it is a early 2002, just before facelift I think. My knowledge of M3s is not great. M3 Coupe. Got it from M-Bits in Cheshire, so massive thank you to M-Bits down there for supplying me as a complete roller, minus for bits that I didn't need, and coming to a good deal on price. And yeah, the stripping is going to begin. So the interior is still complete, so we need to get rid of that. We'll go from there. We'll get it up in the air, we'll get the back end off, drop fuel tank and check for the usual E46 corrosion points. Do the R-cap modification to get the rear boot floor all ripe and ready to handle any power upgrades. Well, let's be fair, there's an S62 going into it, it's going to be a power upgrade. The ABS system, the MK20 that's on it, that's going in bin. Sourced a full motorsport MK60 kit, so that'll be completely standalone. It will allow the removal of the DSC, but it will allow me to keep the ABS, as ABS is quite useful, let's be fair. And yeah, it's fun times ahead. Structurally wise, I had a good look around it before I bought it. Couldn't see any obvious structural issues. Cosmetic items, somebody's run a keyhole down one side, touch of rust in front of rear arches, front wings are dissolved from behind. Standard E46 things, so it's nothing major. I did say earlier on, cheap and fun. Yeah, it's not going to be cheap. Nothing's going to be cheap about it. But I'm at the luxurious position of having the lift and the equipment to be able to do it myself. I appreciate not everybody's got that kit, so I feel quite lucky there. 2002 M3 Coupe, minus the engine, but it came with all the running gear, so everything underneath that I needed it had. And we have subsequently stripped out all of the interior. And made a start on removing various bits of the wiring loom and things we don't need. There is a massive pile of all that rubbish there that we need to get rid of. People may want to buy some of it. I don't know how much M3 things are worth, but hey ho. Further stripped down, doors will be coming off, so we'll be getting rid of the doors because they're going to be carbon fibre. Roof will come off, as that's not needed. Well, a roof is needed, but heavy sunroof roof coming out, carbon fibre going in. Rear quarters, fiberglass, glazing, polycarbonates, then front wings up here. Standard E46 rot on front wings. They're getting replaced with fiberglass parts. Bumper, fiberglass, rear bumper, fiberglass. You can see where we're going with this. So we're aiming for around about 1250 kilos, fully stripped, caged, with the S62 V8 from the M5. So that should be interesting. And we've made a bit of a start already on some of that work. So we've got a block which has been, I can only describe as Nathan divined. If we look in there, you can see a massive hole down there somewhere where piston escaped after one of Nathan's exploits. So he very kindly donated that block to me. A couple of cylinder heads off, I think they're off an E34 with the 3 litre V8. It's irrespective because the exhaust flanges are identical and the mounting is identical, so they're sat quite happily on the S62 block. And the steering rack is not BMW because we're having to do some work. So the options I have for this are dry sump. I have one there waiting to go, so we could use that with a Peterson oil flow pump. Yes, I could use that. It's proven technology, but I like doing things different. You've seen on the M5 channel I like to overcome solutions by other means. So the solution I've got allows me to use my nice carbon fibre prop shaft off the M5, as it will be the correct length, and it'll also allow the engine to sit with the 420G manual gearbox. Yes, we're going back to manual, getting rid of the DCT, as we all saw how badly that worked out of the M5. So all that's sat in there. Gearbox and engine is sat up there nicely in its correct mounting place, and it's currently sat on the subframe with a couple of 32mm sockets holding it up. They give me the correct space and clearance for the sump. So on the S62 the sump sits at the front down here, comes out to about there. It's a big old thing because the oil pump sits there right at front. So the Russian / Eastern European, Polish, whatever it is, Cybel kit modifies the oil pump. They do offer lifetime guarantee on oil pressure on the S62, which is great, but I'm not overly impressed at the way that it's done. Dry sump, yes, I've got one. Yes, it's expensive. That's going to be going to the owner who bought my M5 shell, because he is turning it into an actual race car now, which is fantastic. So it's going to live on. So keep an eye on Cy Fordham's stuff. Superb bloke. Looking forward to seeing that. But for us, keeping the standard sump means modifying the subframe. Get rid of the steering rack on the front. Yes, we're still going to be able to steer, but we're going to be using the Ford Focus steering rack on the back. And with that, if I can just climb over all this crap I've got here, you can see here we've mounted the coilovers from the M5. As fortunately BMW in their wisdom utilise a standardised 3-point fixing for the strut top mounts, so I can reuse them. Camber and caster adjustment in there makes life nice and easy for me. But the hubs, I can't use the M3 hubs because I need to spin them round, so the steering gear is on the back, so it's behind here, whereas it's on the front normally because of the steering rack location. So I've come up with a solution which will then allow the hub to sit in the correct place with the correct caster, the steering gear at the back to allow it to clear through the subframe area, and the correct BMW mounting, so I can reuse my big brakes I had on the M5 and so on and so forth. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge, and it's taken a lot of thinking to get it that far. So we'll go and have a look at them hubs now. So we've got the near side front hub here. So I've painted it on the back. Front needs a coat of paint, but nice aluminium hub. Yes, VW, so those of you who have guessed, well done. And we've got the strut insert in there as well to allow the coilovers from the M5 to fit. So this is the other one for the other side that I've modified. Basically put it in lathe, turned it down to the diameter that we needed to allow it to fit in there with a pinch bolt system, and then adjusted the length, so a shoulder, this shoulder here where the HSD sticker is, would sit up against the top of the hub, and then the bottom sits in against the lip there, and that then will allow perfect seating of the shock absorber / coilover unit, which will just screw into it nicely to adjust the height of the car without impacting on the spring pre-tension adjustment that way. So this is the bearing assembly. So the front hub is off a B6 Passat, the bearing is off a B5.5, and then the actual hub drive flange itself is off the 530 diesel E60, which was machined down to fit. So the outer diameter of the outer bearing was 43mm, and the inner side of the bearing was 45, or vice versa. Yeah, the inner one was 45. So the hub was machined down, then pressed into place, and that fits nicely. Then that can now be bolted to here. Then the stub axle, it's just a machine down outer CV joint. Then the ABS reluctor ring will be pressed onto this flange here. So when it's in there, the ABS sensor will come through here to pick up the 48 teeth. So then that'll allow the MK60 ABS unit to work nicely. That's the plan. So I've test fit this already, and the caster is correct. Couldn't do the camber because you need the weight on the vehicle because of the way wishbones work. When it droops, it gives positive camber because of the wishbone sag. But once it's in place, so it should be okay. It didn't look any different to the standard hub. I think there was something like half a degree in it when I got the inclinometer on it. So that's where we're at with that. So I've got the other side of that to finish. But it's quite a neat solution. And it means everything's nice and modular. Everything comes off easy. And it saves me money. I can't afford to sink thousands of pounds into this. I'm already into it for more than what I wanted. So that's where we're at with the project so far. So engine mounting or positioning, front hubs, steering rack. So in the next updates we will hopefully have the engine mounted, as the mounts for it, we can't use the standard mount. As you can see on that side, it sits nowhere near where we need. Or could we? Or could we? No, we can't. Done. Come on, got a solution for it. So the kits that I've seen mount the engine to the subframe. Standard stuff. I'm going to be welding some brackets to the actual inner rails, which will then have the engine mounting arms holding onto it instead. Then it'll be supported using polybushed mountings. So that'll give the freedom for the subframe to be dropped out without removing the engine for modular maintenance work as well. Makes life nice and easy. And it will keep things hopefully less complicated. And doing that means I can have the mounts slightly further forward and give me more room for the exhaust headers, because space is at a little bit of a premium there. And I've seen some of the work another builder is doing with his M3 GTR and dropping an S62 into it, and boy is it tight in there. It's tighter than my wallet, and I'm from Yorkshire, and that's pretty damn tight. So yes, fun times, fun project. So subscribe to the channel, ring that bell and all that good stuff, and I'll join you soon for the next update where we'll have more to come. Can't promise when it'll be, but keep subscribed.